Alright, my fellow fanatics, prepare yourself for the next chapter of the Ordered Omnibus, the show that's dedicated to unraveling the deepest comic timelines. Our last session was just the beginning, a powerful introduction to the intricate web of comic book history. Now, we're forging ahead, ready to explore the essential issues that build the very foundation of this incredible universe. So, settle in, because we're about to crack open some absolute classics. Daredevil, Volume 2, Issue 52. So, this issue is all about Maya Lopez, aka Echo. Complete waste of a character. They give us some more background. Dad's getting killed. Fisk steps in and basically raises her. Talk about a complicated family situation. And the art, Dave's Mack painting, makes the whole thing gorgeous. Meanwhile, Matt Murdock is reeling from all the stuff he's learning about Maya and her ties to the Kingpin. The same dude that Matt knows killed her dad. The tension is building because Maya's getting closer and closer to the Daredevil, and she thinks he's the one who did it. All thanks to Kingpin's manipulation. It's a powder keg waiting to explode. The Ultimate 6, Issue 1. Alright, let's crack into this supervillain team-up brewing in the Ultimates universe because, you know, things are about to get electrifyingly sinister. So Max Dillon, aka Extro, finally wakes up after weeks in a coma. But do you think he takes it easy? No. He busts out of the hospital and runs straight into the brick wall that is the Ultimates. Talk about a rude awakening. Now, picture this, a S.H.I.E.L.D. prison holding a real rogues gallery. We've got Max Dillon, still probably crackling with leftover electricity. We've got Norman Osborn, who's always scheming even behind bars. We've got Otto Octavius, poor guy's lost his tentacles. And Flint Marko, probably just a pile of sand in his cell. Not exactly a friendly game of poker going on in there. But wait, there's more chaos. Sergei Kravenov, the Kraven Hunter, we all know and, well, maybe we don't love him, but he goes on live TV and drops a bombshell. He illegally messed with his DNA to be just like Spiderman. Talk about identity crisis. And this, of course, gets the Ultimates' attention, and they swoop in and arrest the wannabe web-slinger, but not without a fight because, you know, supervillains, right? But back at Triskelion Prison, things are getting interesting because Norman Osborn, the master manipulator, reveals that he's got a plan. And not just any plan, a plan that requires a team. A team of 6. Dun-da-da! Who's going to be the lucky member of the Sinister Six? What kind of mayhem are they cooking up? You know it's going to be epic and probably involve a whole lot of destruction. The stage is set for some serious supervillain shenanigans in the Ultimate Universe. The Uncanny X-Men, Volume 1, Issue 431. As we're starting this story in the middle, let me give you a little backstory and get you fully up to speed on what's been happening in the X-Men's wild, mutant-filled world. Our journey to the Uncanny X-Men 431 kicked off back in Uncanny X-Men 429 with absolute pandemonium at Xavier's Institute. Picture this, Nightcrawler, naked and disoriented, inexplicably steals the X-Jet. And as if that wasn't enough, the X-Men then discover Iceman frozen solid, undergoing a terrifying secondary mutation, turning him into solid ice. Professor X then reveals mysterious mutant energy trails converging on Isla des Demonas, hinting that mutants, including Nightcrawler, are being summoned there. Just before the X-Men depart, we see a raw and emotional confrontation between Juggernaut and Professor X, touching on their dark and abusive past, which sets Kane off on his own mission to Vancouver. The madness only escalated in Uncanny X-Men 430, while Juggernaut begins his journey to Vancouver to confront young Sam Pear's heartbreaking domestic situation. Back at the Institute, Professor X and Nurse Annie enter Polaris' volatile mindscape, and what they uncover is a seismic revelation. Polaris confirms via DNA test from Genosha that Magneto is genetically her father. We witness her traumatic memories of the Genosian slaughter, seeing how she fled overwhelmed, ultimately believing that Magneto was right all along about humanity. Meanwhile, back on Isla des Demonas, the X-Men are battling a massive, inexplicable dimensional rift. And in a truly shocking, brutal moment, Iceman is struck by an arrow and shatters into thousands of icy fragments, seemingly dying right before his teammates' eyes. And the issue culminates with that dimensional rift exploding, engulfing everyone in the island in pure, raw energy. And that, my friends, brings us crashing into the main event, Uncanny X-Men 431. After that insane explosion, the X-Men recover, but things are still utterly wild. Get this, Iceman's head is miraculously still alive and talking. While Nightcrawler is finally freed from his bizarre and unwilling fusion, their brief respite is shattered by the appearance of the mysterious demon Azazel and his crew. Azazel casually admits he summoned Kurt, and things get super personal when Archangel's healing blood causes Kurt's hand to burn, drawing Azazel's death-like stare. Then the demon named Jillian, who looks uncannily like the Nightcrawler, attacks Archangel, screaming, "Death to all angels!" And at the same time, Sammy Pear in Vancouver embraces the dark side, violently retaliating against his bullies and proclaiming himself the Juggernaut. But the absolute showstopper comes back on Isla Desdemonas when Jubilee teams up with the young mutant Abyss to open a dimensional portal. But here's the kicker. Instead of sucking demons in, this portal spits things out, including random objects and finally, the notorious shapeshifter Mystique. Just when you thought the saga couldn't get any wilder, a major X-Men villain with rather obvious and shocking ties to both sides just crashed the party. And you know what that means. Trouble. Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 2, number 58. Okay, true believers, let's unleash some awesome. So, Amazing Spider-Man number 58, the Happy Birthday arc takes a rather serious turn. We've got Reed Richards, super genius, right? Well, somebody's pulled the wool over his eyes again, leading him to create a device that punches holes into other dimensions. And who comes traipsing through that interdimensional doorway? The one, the only, Dormammu, Lord of the Dark Dimension. This is a cosmic level escalation, folks, and not your standard bank robber. And how much would you pay for this incredible offer? Well, don't answer yet. There's more. Along with Dormammu, we get a whole horde of the Mindless Ones, pure chaos in monstrous form. Our heroes, Cyclops, Thor, Iron Man, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, and the ever-loving Thing are immediately thrown into a desperate struggle to contain this mystical invasion of Earth. Now, Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, being the mystical powerhouse he is, recognizes the sheer danger that Dormammu represents. He's ready to make the ultimate sacrifice, preparing a spell that will banish Dormammu back into his dark realm, even if it means his own annihilation. Talk about high stakes. But wouldn't you know it, in true Spider-Man fashion, Peter Parker's luck takes a nosedive. Amidst the magical blasts in the fight against the Mindless Ones, Spidey gets stuck smack dab in the middle of Doctor Strange's world-saving and self-ending spell. This is a huge turning point, folks, because it throws a major wrench into Strange's plan and has immediate, unforeseen consequences. While Doctor Strange, with his incredible magical powers, does manage to force Dormammu and his mindless minions back into the dark dimension, a win for the good guys, right? Not so much. The residual effects of the powerful spell on Spider-Man and the other heroes are bizarre. They start experiencing temporal anomalies, flickering in and out of different time periods and alternate realities. The issue closes with a seriously concerning note, hinting at the potential ramifications of their temporal displacement. We may even be able to affect what happens when the quantum possibilities collapse. This isn't just a normal quick trip through time. It suggests that they might be able to alter the very course of events. This sets the stage for a potentially reality-altering conclusion to the Happy Birthday arc, raising the stakes to an insane level. What's up, Comic Crusaders, and welcome back to Between the Panels. Alright, so if you're just jumping in, seriously don't sweat it. We just got done dissecting the editorial landscape for our November of 2003 Ordered Omnibus Episode 2, right? Now, though, we're pivoting hard and zeroing in on the incredible writers who crafted those stories, whose narratives profoundly influenced the Marvel Universe during that period. These creators were instrumental in character development, pushing the storylines forward, and laying down foundational elements for how comics would be written later on. This segment is all about checking out their individual contributions and the undeniable impact of their literary visions. First up, Brian Michael Bendis. Revolutionized Spider-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man. Bendis masterfully streamlined decades of complex continuity, presenting a modern, character-driven Peter Parker. In this issue, he interprets Sandman with a grounded, unsettling origin, exemplifying his knack for twisting familiar concepts into unique and intense narratives with sharp dialogue and intricate plotting. This approach set a new benchmark for modern superhero storytelling, showing how a classic can feel fresh again. Next, Grant Morrison delivered a distinctive vision with the new X-Men 147. Morrison's impactful run on the X-Men profoundly reevaluated the team, pushing conceptual boundaries and challenging established mutant lore. Within the Planet X storyline, issue 147 serves as a critical point of intense dramatic escalation and huge plot developments. Morrison's intellectual and experimental narrative approach, blended with a willingness to explore complex themes, has positioned the new X-Men as a standout title, offering a sophisticated and thought-provoking take on the X-Men universe. Our focus then shifts to Bruce Jones's compelling work on the Incredible Hulk 60. Jones took the Hulk title into uncharted territory, transforming it in more of a psychological thriller rather than your typical super action hero series. His split decisions arc, kicking off with this issue, throws Bruce Banner into a tense, isolated existence. Jones's narrative, with a minimalist dialogue and relentless pace, built an atmosphere of pervasive tension, presenting a raw, vulnerable, profoundly unsettling version of the Hulk with intense psychological depth. Let us not forget, fellow fanatics, that David Mack penned a compelling narrative for Daredevil number 52, continue his unique and visually distinct take on the Man Without Fear. Chuck Austen delivered a pivotal story in the Uncanny X-Men number 431, exploring key aspects of the mutant lore, where J. Michael Straczynski continued his critical acclaimed run on the Amazing Spider-Man number 58, delving deep into Peter Parker's life. Judd Winnick explored alternate realities in Exiles number 34, showcasing his knack for diverse character dynamics, while Mark Waid crafted an impactful tale in the Fantastic Four 75, adding layers to Marvel's First Family. And John A. Reber crafted narratives for Captain America in issue 18. And that, true believers, wraps up our deep dive into the writers who made November of 2003 a truly unforgettable month for Marvel Comics. From character-defining arcs to genre-bending narratives, these creators really shaped the universe that we love. Join us next time as we shift gears and take a look at art. Captain America, Volume 4, Issue 18. So, Cap just yeeted himself out of a 102-story building to ditch the Red Skull. Classic Cap, am I right? And if you're a fan, you know this dude loves a good window exit. But here's where it gets wild. I'm really giving the side-eye to this whole first page and that double splash page. Seriously? A 67-story Deus Ex Machina drop just to get Cap to the top of the Baxter roof? And get this, the door's unlocked. He bumps into what looks like depowered Reed and Sue Richard robots, and they're like, freight elevator, now, SS troops coming. And wouldn't you know it, he magically snags a ride on a truck headed that way. Sneaky, but not sneaky enough. The Iron Men are already on his tail. He does the whole bouncy, spinny, jumpy thing to escape, but they chase him into the subway tunnels. More Iron Men. He manages to lose them down smaller tunnels, and when he emerges, who does he meet? Benjamin Grimm. The thing rips off Captain's tracker, but it's too late. More Iron Men show up. A few panels, some classic catchphrases, and boom! A big explosion. Then we cut to the Red Skull chilling at Das Hausstock, checking out Victor Von Doom's time machine proof of concept. Baron von Strucker even makes a cameo. And the Skull? He goes on a full-page rant about controlling time and space. This is getting pretty good. Exiles, Volume 1, Issue 34. So, Mariko and TJ get blinked back to the Legacy planet, and wouldn't you guess it, they're almost instantly swarmed with Velox. I mean, talk about a rough welcome back. Now, Sunfire manages to get them out of there with her flight powers, but she's still feeling the effects of the vampire infection from the last reality, so she clashes pretty quickly. And next thing you know, she's waking up in the Avengers compound in Las Vegas, and who's there? Mary Jane Watson. But not just any MJ, it's Spider-Woman MJ. Fast forward 9 days, and Dr. McCoy's breaking the news that they may be stuck on this planet for a while. Meanwhile, MJ and Mariko are making the most of it, and it's getting super close. 12 days later, they're basically Avengers regulars out on patrol, taking down Velox left and right, just to have them inoculated. Now, While this is going on, TJ notices how tight Mariko and MJ are getting, and then 2 days later she has the talk with Mariko. She's warning her about being too attached. I mean, it's going to hurt way more if they inevitably have to leave. But Mariko, she's not having any of it. 4 days later, MJ takes Mariko on a date at a movie theater that, oddly enough, Doc Ock, of all people, fixed up. During the date, MJ brings up the same thing, we're going to leave. But Mariko shuts it down. She explains that her time on Earth 8545 has been the happiest she has ever been, ever, and she doesn't care how long it lasts. She's going to live every moment to the fullest until it's over. And then almost 2 weeks later, when MJ is drawing a bath, Mariko and TJ blink out into the next reality, leaving MJ behind on Earth 8545. Fantastic Four, Volume 3, Issue 75. All right, so things have escalated quickly. The Fantastic Four jumping into Latveria has caused an international crisis. Hungary's ruler is furious in meeting with the UN Secretary General because the Fantastic Four stopped his annexation plans. But in comes Nick Fury, calls out Hungary and saying, you're not the only one with claims to Latveria. There's Serbia, there's Simcaria, so just chill out. And argues that the Fantastic Four are the only ones preventing total chaos there. Still, the UN's warning is quite clear. The Fantastic Four has broken international law, and there will be repercussions. Meanwhile, in Latveria, the protests against the Fantastic Four's occupation continue, and it's seriously getting on Reed's nerves. He's decided he's got to fix this problem. Next morning, get this, the others wake up with weird devices on their heads. Reed's totally vague about it at breakfast. Sue worries about Reed's strange behavior since the takeover, but Johnny just blows it off. Reed takes them to the village, and bam, locals confront them, asking about Doom. Suddenly, the Fantastic Four realize those devices worked. They understand Latverian. How wild! Reed leads them to a hidden shack with no doors or windows. Johnny melts the wall, revealing Doom's guillotine and crematorium for all of the dissidents in his country. Reed has Sue make it invisible so the crowd can see the truth of Doom's atrocities. He promises the Fantastic Four will end such horrors, but even after they smash the building, the people are still terrified. Not of Doom, but of the Fantastic Four. Frustrated, Reed reaches out to a local, Ben stops him, and Sue calls an emergency family meeting. So back at Doom's castle for the meeting, Sue explains that she just wants to go home. And while they're trying to explain that Doom has brainwashed the locals, Reed leads them into the castle's lower levels past all the traps. They hit a massive metal door. Red stops them, explaining one critical reason why they can't leave. He opens it, revealing a huge, secret nuclear weapons cache. Seriously? Reed lays it out. He's sick of Doom always coming back, risking lives, and just messing with everybody. This time, he'll disarm everything so Victor has nothing. He argues only that the Fantastic Four can safely handle this arsenal, not the UN, not a new ruler. After his intense explanation, Reed holds out his hand. And you know what? Despite everything, the others join him in solidarity. All this is wild. The Incredible Hulk, Volume 2, Issue 61. We kick off with a seriously tense video call. Homebase Honcho is chewing out Supervisor 4 and 5 for not nabbing Banner yet. How mad is he? He dissolves Supervisor 4 into a puddle of bloody goo with organic acid in his water. Yikes. Now that he's got number 5's undivided attention, he spills the intel. Mr. Blue's at Nadia Doranova's diner, and Banner's in New York City. Time to unleash the Krill. Not the shrimp people. S5 is hesitant, saying that Krill project is still in early testing and has a light sensitivity issue. But the leader's like, nighttime deployment, problem solved. Cut to Bruce Banner chilling in a sauna with the mysterious agent from the anti-home base crew. The agent says that they're keeping Bruce Banner hidden until they can get him to New York City and linked up with Mr. Blue. Now, switch to Nadia's bathroom in New Mexico. Now, while Nadia is waiting for Mr. Blue to finish showering, she stumbles across a small projector. It turns out it's a video showing Mr. Blue getting plastic surgery to change his face and infiltrate home base. What an odd thing to carry with you. When he comes out, he reminds Nadia that home base is after both of them. But hey, they have until nightfall. Back in New York City, Banner's cruising in a taxi, and the unknown agent calls him, saying everything's going according to plan, and suddenly the sauna door slams shut, and the temperature skyrockets, boiling the agent alive. Double cross alert. Meanwhile, at his secret lab, Doc Samson's using Sandra Verduga's DNA to track down their son Rick Myers. His tech pinpoints the kid near Carlsbad. With his lab compromised, Samson and Verduga bail, setting the place to go boom. As they drive off, debating their next move, Banner's laptop starts flashing. It's a short message telling them to head to Nadia's. They weigh their options and decide to change course. When Bruce finally arrives in New Mexico, local contacts whisk him away to a rental car. Back at Nadia's, the two women are arming themselves for the inevitable home base arrival. Mr. Blue reveals that he's a mole inside home base, working to keep Bruce safe. Back at Nadia's shed, Nadia's got Mr. Blue at gunpoint. She reveals she knows who he really is, but the question is, does Bruce Banner know? Mr. Blue insists Banner's in the dark, and suddenly he feels something scuttle past his foot. Ugh. The woman hears a rustling in the tall grass and makes a run for the house, whose lights are now out and whose windows are filled with the glowing red eyes. The heck is going on? This is getting seriously intense. Xtreme X-Men, issue 31. Okay, the fear and the hatred of mutants is hitting a critical mass around the world in Xtreme X-Men 31. We're seeing the grim reality unfold through scattered violent incidents. There's a tragic car crash linked to reckless mutants, and aid workers are murdered only for the killers to be taken out by a vengeful Genosian survivor. It's pure chaos, really, showing the widening chasm between humans and mutants. This pushes the Xtreme X-Men team to set up and take on a more global mission. We find Storm and Gambit undercover at a meeting of the world leaders, listening to some seriously disturbing discussions about the mutant problem. It's clear things are escalating. Meanwhile, Bishop is on the ground in Los Angeles dealing with the harsh truth of the streets. He witnesses the tragic death of a young mutant linked to a new drug called Rave. It's another stark reminder that the dangers aren't just external. Bishop then connects with Sage, and then unexpectedly they find Rogue, who's trying to live a quiet life under the alias of Anna, working at a garage. But predictably, this piece doesn't last. The three of them attend a concert and uncover a terrifying plot, a bomb that specifically targets mutants. So much for a quiet night out. The issue masterfully sets the stage for a massive new arc. It vividly portrays a global-scale anti-mutant hatred and strongly hints at the potential for repercussions from the Genosian genocide. Alright, fellow fanatics, that's a wrap-up of our deep dive into Marvel's November of 2003 Part 3. What a month, right? Truly packed with game-changing moments that really shook up the universe. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you've already unleashed your might upon that like button and verily subscribed. It helps out big time and ensures you won't miss any of the Ordered Omnibus action. Now for what's coming up next. Next week, things are getting even more intense. We're talking about explosive fallout in Ultimate 6-2, the highly anticipated debut of NYX number 1, and the epic conclusion of the Ultimates 12. Plus, we've got more New Mutants and even more Avengers chaos to dissect. And here's the complete rundown of everything that will be tackled next week. Same ordered time, same ordered omnibus.